Come with me on a service call. Let's figure out why this unit ain't working. Well, the first step, I guess, would be to put a thermostat on the wall. I guess the handyman has been here already. This is the air handler. This is the indoor unit. Don't get overwhelmed about all the wires. It's really simple. I'm going to walk you through it one wire at a time. Those two big black wires in the back are high voltage wires. You're going to check power to those. We know that power's off outside, maybe a disconnect or a breaker's turned off. I'm looking at the circuit board to see if there's any small fuses on it. Sometimes on different circuit boards there's little bitty small fuses. You'll want to check those. This part right in front of the circuit board is called a transformer. That takes your high voltage and makes it low voltage. Your switches will use low voltage in this system, and your motors and your compressors, they will use high voltage. The handyman left us a new thermostat to put on, so we got it, and I'm going to check it out here. Let me show you something. You see these wires? You see how they're bare? They're really long on the ends. That white wire is actually nicked. We don't want nothing like that. It could cause problems later on, so let's just cut it back and clean it up a little bit. We want it to look really nice, and we don't want any other potential problems. So I left the blue wire out to let people know if they come back and work on it, if they need another wire, maybe one's got a nick or something in it, you could use that blue instead. We also want to make sure we got it on electric, because this is an electric heat, and we want to make sure those pins aren't bent. Sometimes those pins can be bent and it's just overlooked, so we just want to be really detailed about it. Snap it back in place, and let's go back toward the air handler. So we got that part took care of. We always want to look at all these little wire nuts. Sometimes they don't have good connections, and that could cause it not to heat or cool, the fan not to come on, etc. Checking the board out, looking at all this stuff, just making sure. I'm looking for obvious stuff. Does anything look burnt? Does anything just seem out of place? Everything seems to be normal. I went outside, turned the breaker on, and I got my meter out, and I just want to show you. If you look, it says 246.1. It's 246 volts. If it was 208, we could do something different, but I just want you to notice that it shows 240. Now, these two prongs on this transformer that you're seeing me touch is low voltage. You should actually see 28 volts right there. 28 volts. It wasn't there, so I know it was bad. If you look at this, you see the white is calm, 240 is orange. If you had 208, you'd use the white and red. If you had a gas furnace, you'd probably use white and black. That's 110 volts. The blue and the yellow on this transformer is your 24. So you got high voltage coming into the transformer and low voltage coming out. So you have white and orange for the 240 and the blue and yellow for the 24 volts. As you can also see that these have electrical connectors on them and the other ones do not. You can see that you can see the common and the 208 and 240 hookups on this particular transformer. And I'm going to show you how we're going to go about changing that. See, I put these little electrical connectors on it, so that way I can put an inline fuse, so that way if we have any other issues, we can just change fuses out, which is a lot less to deal with than changing an actual transformer. Just want you to notice that on those connectors, I'm putting these wire nuts. That's an example of one of the fuses we're going to use. 3 amp is probably fine in most situations. If you have a carrier, 5 amp is typical. And we do one wire at a time, guys. Like, I'm showing you a jump here, but take plenty pictures and photos of what you're doing, so that way if you need to look back at something, I know a lot of y'all guys already know that, but I'm just covering some stuff, the basic stuff here. I took care of the low voltage already. Here's my high voltage. You're not going to need all of the wires. This is a 240, so I had that white and orange. I used regular duct tape because I didn't have any electrical tape at the time, but I didn't want to leave those connections open. I went ahead and switched them all. I got all the wires put together, wire for wire. So it was really simple. I took the old one out, mounted the new one in, put the fuses, wrapped them up with the duct tape just so they're not bare. And Just double checking everything, making sure everything's good to go before I do turn it on. Everything seems to be pretty good. Like I said, I'm always looking for something that I may have overlooked, but everything seems to be pretty good here. Now, we went out there, turned the breaker on. Everything's running. It's a little old unit, man. It's got a little shake in it. The tracks in there's probably wobbled. Probably could use some maintenance a little bit on the blower. Maybe it has some dirt and stuff on it. Now it's just a matter of setting it up, turning it on,